Get it to work.
What's going on, Coach Sess?
Chris, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much. Just sitting here at the job. Got a little bit of free time. We're not doing much here, so
You're at the job, chilling.
yeah.
What's on your mind this week as far as MMA goes, or combat sports in general? Because I know you always got something.
Just I'm excited to watch Jalin Turner beat Bobby Green. Isaiah and me kind of had put like a bet on it, and I genuinely think that Jalin can pull it off. He can pull it off.
What's Jalen coming off, a loss or a win?
A loss. So he's had two back-to-back split decision losses to Dan Hooker and Mateusz Gamrot, which are nothing to be ashamed about. Like, Mateusz Gamrot is top 5 lightweight, and Dan Hooker's just tough. Like, Dan's just tough. You're not going to finish Dan Hooker unless you're like Edson Barbosa, or you take him down and submit him. But
now, if I'm thinking about Jalen in the right context, he's tall and lanky, right?
Yes, tall, lanky, 6'3", lightweight. I mean, and the kid's talented. I mean, he's like super talented.
Yeah, except for the super talented part, he kind of favors you.
Yeah. Wait. I just called that.
You missed all that.
I missed that whole thing for a second. And he was like, hold on, wait.
No. He does resemble you to a certain degree. You're not as tall as him, but he does resemble you.
I'm like inch and a half shorter, and he's a lot more wiry than I am.
I remember when he first came in, and there was a lot of hype and expectation about him. But it's kind of like when Dwight Howard was in the NBA, it was all this hype, and then nothing. It's like it just dies off. So what do you think he needs to do to turn this around?
So I think, watching the Gamrot and the Hooker fight, Jalin doesn't have a problem finishing guys. I think what was hurting Jalin was, I don't think guys in the gym were testing Jalin. I think he had kind of reached that point at, wherever he like trains at, where he was like the big fish. And once you hit that point, you either have to dial back, or you have to go somewhere where you're not the big fish. Because I feel like when those guys were not testing him, when he started getting tested by guys like Dan Hooker, like Gamrot, guys that he couldn't finish, he didn't know how to, proceed with the fight and win.
Exactly. I got what you're saying. And that was one of the things I was saying about yesterday when I was talking about training, guys going to train with Tony Loco. And I said, a lot of guys, and I'm talking about people in total, not just Loco, but anywhere, you need to train with someone who's just not a specialist coach. What I mean is they're good at what they do, but they're finishers. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you gotta, if you want to get to the moon, man, you got to aim for the stars. You got to go beyond your target. And so you got to train with people that know how to finish. And that is coincides with what you're saying about the gym. If you don't have guys in the gym that can push you to the level, then you're never going to know what that level feels like. You're not going to know how to do it in the real fight, in the real time, in the real occurrence. So you've got to learn to shoot further. And that's why you got to find somebody who can take you to that point where you're not just a good boxer, good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu guy, but a finisher. Because then if you run into somebody tough, at least you will be ahead of the game. And to me, that's what Khabib was. I think a lot of the guys that made the distance with Khabib was just because, Khabib had been trained to finish, and they were just that tough that if Khabib didn't have that instinct, they probably would have beaten Khabib.
Like, Coach says, I'm a firm believer of this, and I get a lot of hate for this, but people are always saying don't leave it in the hands of the judges, but it's also a two-person sport. But with that, I firmly believe unless you just get steamrolled or you get just like knocked out flush, getting finished is an option. That is an option. Unless you just get steamrolled or you get just KO'd flush, like you just get sparked out completely. But if you're covered up and you're hurt and the guy's just swarming you, no, you made the option to just sit there and cover up. You didn't try to angle out. You didn't try to clinch and hold. You sat there and you made that a choice.
I totally understand where you're coming from. And again, those are problems that can be mitigated in the gym because you need to feel that pressure. You need to feel that pressure in the gym. You want to keep the injuries on the low end, but you got to feel that pressure. You have to feel that pressure.
That's one of the things. Go ahead.
So what's up with you as far as what's next for you? We know Fight for It 18 is coming up in January, but I know you don't always want to fight in North Carolina. So what's up with you?
I asked Isaiah about it. He said that's fine. So now I'm waiting on my job. So we got to see who's got what time period off post holidays, which like the final day for that is December 16th. And with me being the, assistant manager, of course, my job is to come in whenever nobody else can make it. So I have to wait to see who's actually not taking that day off. And hopefully if nobody takes that day off, I'm going to hop on that card. I want to get on. Jacob Lennon wants to get on. I know a couple of kids at Valhalla want to get on and kickbox. So hopefully we can show up in a pretty good crowd.
I got you. And I remember Jacob from UBG. I'm gonna be honest. I think he needs a little bit more time. I think he needs a little bit more time. Just because of what I remember what he did at UBG. Yeah, he won, but he needs a little bit more time. Because the thing about Fight for It, like because they have that kickboxing structure, a lot of these guys are bringing some serious striking. So when by the time they move to the MMA, they may lack in certain areas, but the one area that they tend not to lack as much is in their striking. These guys are just getting better and better. And I like to see Jake. If he doesn't know how to go straight to his grappling, which is one of his strong suits, if he just can't get the guy to the ground, if he just can't get there early, then he needs to wait just, I would say, by mid-year and work on that aspect of the game.
Well, it's gonna sound crazy, like you bringing that up because of the structure of Fight For. A lot of guys come in and they may struggle in some areas, but they always have good striking. An example of that is guys like Jonathan Freeman. Like Jonathan's one. He's one of those guys that I would tell you if you look at his record, it's very. It'll give you a false sense of security. You might think, oh, he's just gonna be easy. No, Jonathan came from a straight striking background, didn't do any kind of grappling, and now that he's starting to learn how to grapple, I've seen guys like my friend Brent kind of have some tough fights against him. I mean, he's had to learn on the job. So
oh yeah. I mean, you have to look at who a person has fought. As far as the strength of schedule, what have they done? Who they've been up against? Speaking of strength of schedule, your boy Cody Reese reached out to me. He's looks like he's going to go pro. Look like he's going to go pro at 55. I don't know how soon, but it looks like that's his next step. And I knew he was working on that. Coming from a heavier weight, working his way all the way down. So it looks like he's going to go pro at 55. I think he can do it. I think the biggest issue is just keep cutting that weight and maintaining. He's got to get to a point where he has a weight. He's got to stabilize his walk around weight. You know what I mean? Just because everything he's done so far has been train, get down, train, get down. He hasn't had time to stop and find out what his normal walk around weight is going to be. And your body can still trick you. Your body can say, oh, we like 85. And then that would make him a better 70 guy, but probably not best for him strategically wise because he's so short,
Well, I know that when Marcelo posted that he was putting the Fight For It card together. I seen some guys out there like Wilmington and stuff, looking to get fights, and I think a really good matchup for Cody would be somebody like Anthony Roman, maybe like Danny Zaya. I think that they'd be pretty good, introductions into the pro league.